Yo guys, Melbourne in Australia is a track that has been redesigned for F1 22. We didn't see it for a few years, however it's back with a new and improved layout. The new Melbourne layout has removed a couple of corners and reprofiled a few others. This makes the track much faster, with lap times on average around 2 seconds faster, even with the slower 2022 cars. This car setup is designed to give you a well balanced car for full race distance around Australia. Around Albert Park, you need a rear end that will stay planted to the track. In F1 22, the car is much more likely to oversteer, which can make already tricky corners such as turns 13 and 14 even harder. Increasing the rear aero setup will improve your ability to drive through these tricky corners without losing the back end of your car under acceleration. However, it will also add drag to your car, making it less optimised for straight line speed. I've created a bit of an offset with the front and rear wings, lowering the front while keeping the rear a little higher. This will increase rear downforce, allowing you to get the power down quickly, and the lower front aero should help maintain a high top speed. Go for 17 on the front wing and 24 on the rear. For the transmission, you'd ideally want to keep your on-throttle diff really high to help with speed through the fast sweeping corners, but you need to keep one eye on the slower corners, which are very tricky around Australia. Go for a balanced on-throttle diff setup of 72. Then I've lowered the off-throttle diff as far as I can. This will help mitigate some of the front downforce that we're losing with the lower front aero setup. Go for 50 on your off-throttle diff. I've followed a similar approach with suspension geometry to our Jeddah car setup, simply because having a front camber that is close to all the way right and rear camber and toe all the way left is simply the quickest way around Australia in F1 22. I've kept away from the maximum and minimum values a little to preserve some tyre life. Go for minus 2.6 front camber, minus 1.8 rear camber, 0.06 front toe and 0.2 on the rear toe. Australia is a track where having a responsive front end is beneficial. You'll be throwing your car into corners at reasonably high speeds, so keep the front suspension and anti-roll bar high at 8 and lower the rear suspension and ARBs to just 1. Then go for a ride height of 4 and 5. The brake setup is my normal setup of 100% brake pressure and 50% brake bias. Again, this is quite simply the most efficient way to set up your brakes for most tracks. For the tyres, I've raised the front pressures for a little more responsiveness, setting both of these at 24.3. Then I've kept the rear tyre pressures pretty balanced at 21.8 on both rears. I've seen a few of you commenting that your tyre pressure values aren't quite matching up to mine, with mine being 24.3 for example, and some players only being able to set theirs to 24.2 or 24.5. This is strange and could be down to console and PC differences or different game updates. If this is the case for you, set your tyre pressures to the closest match to mine. If your pressures are different by 0.1, that won't make any real difference. Overall, this Australian car setup will help you tackle Melbourne in F1 22 with good speed. You'll have a car with more than enough rear stability to race through the tricky last sector and enough speed on the rest of the track to be competitive. Let me know what setup you use in the comments below. And if you enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more F1 22 car setups and content. See you on track, guys.